So you're trying to figure out what laptop to buy. Things are expensive, things are cheap. You don't know why they're priced this way. I'm gonna show you how to pick the best laptop for you. What's going on, guys? My name is Tiny. I'm a music producer, songwriter. You know the whole list. Anyways, in today's video, we're talking about how to pick the best laptop for you. We spoke about in the last video about like laptops. I did a comparison between Mac and PC. We know that Mac and PC are different from a utility standpoint. So one is easier to use, which is Mac, and PC is more customizable. You could do a lot more things with it. At the end of the day, it's your pick. Now, whether you're buying Mac and PC, I'm going to explain to you how everything is priced and exactly what you need to know to buy your laptop. So there's a lot of things inside the computer I'm going to explain to you in a very simple way. There's some things that you do need in a computer to make music, and there's some things that you don't need. So for you to pick the best laptop, or if you're building your own PC, I'm going to let you know how things are priced and why they're priced like that, so you could let go some of the performance on some things and boost up the performance on some other things, so you can make some music and not have any problems. If you're on a really tight budget, I already suggest buy a PC, don't buy a Mac. But if you're not and you want something that's very easy to use without any hassle, Mac is your best choice. The three things that you need to know are the pricing for CPU, RAM, and storage. So before I get into that, I just want to say one thing about PCs is that when you're buying a laptop for music production, you have to think whether or not you're going to be doing video editing, playing games, because if you are doing anything video related, so games or video editing, you're gonna need to buy a computer with a GPU, and those are all very expensive right now, so you have to watch out. If you're not planning on doing any gaming or video editing or anything like that, I highly suggest that you buy a computer without a GPU, because you won't be needing that for music production. So a GPU is just a graphics processing unit, so it's the graphics card inside the computer. You really don't need that if you're making music, but if you're doing video editing, you have to think about that, and those are all priced in terms of performance. Now we can get into all the different types of GPUs, but that's not really the point of this video. But in this video, we're only going to talk about CPUs, RAM, and storage. So CPUs, there's two brands. Apple uses their own chip now, but you can also buy CPUs that are from Intel because they used to be partnered with them. But the two main chips for PC are Intel as well. There's also AMD. It's really easy to do a comparison between them because they're all priced and named in the same order. So for Intel, it goes from, let's say, highest performance to lowest performance: i9, i7, i5, and i3. For AMD, it's going to be R9, R7, R5, and R3. If you're trying to compare CPUs, there's not much of a difference when it comes to music production. You could go with either or. There's never been any problems for me. I have a PC with an AMD CPU and a Mac with an Intel CPU, and they work both fine for music. So now when you're choosing your laptop, you have to look out for whether it's like, let's say, an i5 or an R3. Now you're going to know what you're paying for and how it compares to the next computer you're looking at. So if a computer with an i5 chip is worth like $500, and you're looking at a computer with another chip with i7 and it's $300 more, well, now you know what you're paying for if we're keeping the other variables constant. You're paying for more performance if you're paying $300 more. So for RAM, you want to be looking between 16 and 8 gigs of RAM, because that's what's going to be holding all your files when you have the application open. So there's a difference between memory and storage. So memory is basically your RAM. It's temporary memory. So your computer is going to need at least, like I said, 16 and 8 to hold all your samples, instruments, and run the application all at the same time. If you're on a budget, I would go for 8. But that's really the minimum, because 4 is not going to cut it nowadays, and 16 is really your optimal way. 32 is a bit too much, but I mean, you could still go for 32 if there is a laptop with 32. I think there are, but 16 is really like a sweet spot. 8 is on a budget. So there's two types of storage. They're called SSD and HDD. SSD is a solid state drive and HDD is a hard drive. Now for music, SSD is really what you want to go for. If you're on a budget, I don't even suggest that you get a computer with a hard drive in it, because there are moving parts and you're gonna probably have to replace them at one point if you're planning on using it for the long term. But if you get SSD, there are no moving parts, so you can like wiggle the laptop, it'll never break, it'll always be fine. But if you're on a budget, my solution for you is to get a computer that has an SSD drive but only a small amount of storage. So let's say 100 gigabytes to 500 gigabytes, in between there. So you have storage for like things that you will always use. But if you want to have a lot of storage, buy a external hard drive for your laptop to carry all your samples, because that'll save you a lot of money. It might be a little hectic to carry around a hard drive, but it's a lot cheaper if you are planning to do it that way. So I hope you guys learned a little something in this video. I just basically broke down the individual components of a computer. All those components are basically variables, and you're gonna be paying more if they perform better. Like an SSD is gonna perform better than a hard drive, it's always faster. A R9 AMD graphics card is gonna perform better than an R5. And obviously 16 gigs of RAM is always better to have than 8 gigs of RAM. So now you know what you're paying for in these little computers. So hopefully you can buy a laptop and be knowledgeable about these things. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Comment any questions you have. Maybe you got some. Subscribe for more music production content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. My name is Tiny, and I'm signing out.